Oh, relationship over everything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just walk away. Welcome to Plan, Prep, Pray. Hey girlie, my name is Wendy and I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom of 4 little ones, and on this channel I talk about all things mommy self-care, kids empowerment, homeschooling, and home management. So subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. I think it's so important to foster an environment of peace and calm, and to not yell at your kids to make them listen to you. So today I'm going to share with you some tips on how to do just that. So before I get started on the actual tips, let me just say morning routines. Do a morning routine. You need some time to pour into yourself and fill yourself and be able to be so filled that you can deal with any triggers and any sort of situations that make you want to yell in a calm, filled state. So you want to make sure that you're good in order for you to take care of your little ones. So let's talk about relationship over everything. So the first thing, relationship over everything. Relationship over you as the parent being right now. Relationship over having the child understand what they did wrong and that it was wrong. Relationship over everything. I don't mean to get too religious, but I want to say that Jesus was a God of relationships. One of the main goals for him coming down to earth was to foster a relationship between us and God. Relationship is so important when it comes to anything that we do in life, let alone the relationship that we foster with our children. So relationship over everything is the umbrella. So the first thing you want to do is you want to recognize when you are done or when you are starting from a depleted spot. It is not a weakness to say that you're tired, you're hungry, you haven't slept, whatever the situation is. Like, I know for me, I recently had a teething 9-month-old, and I know that my trigger is being tired. And so I do not homeschool when I have not slept through the night. It doesn't matter how many things my other children need to learn. Me homeschooling them in that state is not fair. It's not right. I am not gonna be at the patience level that I need to be. I'm not gonna be at the understanding level that I need to be. And so I'm not gonna be a good enough teacher for them completely depleted. So I recognize that, and I say to myself, I said, okay, today's probably not going to be a good homeschooling day if you haven't slept. So let's call it a free day, and we'll go outside and we'll do all the other things. But to sit down and teach somebody how to read when you haven't slept through the night is not a good idea. So the second thing you want to do is you want to have a plan. You want to have a plan when things get to the point where you want to yell. So for me, I count back from 5. I said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if I'm still not calm, I'll walk away. So you want to have a plan that works. You want to have a plan that you remember when you are feeling triggered. And so I recommend writing it down, having post-its. I used to have post-its everywhere that says, use your soft voice, use your kind words, for myself. But the kids thought it was for them. But no, for me, so that I know to calm down. And I'll be about to look and see the post, I'll be like, oh, relationship over everything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just walk away. I am blessed enough to have my husband here with me in order for me to piggyback off of, but I know some people aren't. So when my husband wasn't here, I would place my little ones in a pack and play or in their crib, and I'll walk away and go and close myself in the bathroom for 2 minutes so that I can just breathe and calm down. But now, thankfully, my husband is here, and so he can piggyback off of me, so I can say, babe, I can't deal with this right now, not in the right state, and he takes over. You have to know your limitations. I used to feel weak and like, oh, why am I letting myself be triggered by certain things? But it's not a weakness to be able to recognize your limitations and stop to do better. You want to figure out what your triggers are. Pay attention to yourself, don't mindlessly go throughout your day. Figure out what is triggering you. So for me, it used to be morning routines, like getting everybody dressed, getting everybody like started for the day used to be such a trigger because they would lollygag around. I don't even know if that's the word, but they just do whatever they want to do, or I'd have to say the same thing 50 times. And it was just such a thing in my household. And so we came out with morning routines and morning checklists. And so I made a checklist for everybody. I gave them their checklist. I took time to train them to make sure that everybody knew how to get through their checklist on their own. And now the checklist is the boss and not me. You want to figure out what your triggers are and allow for time, not only to train, but also time to get through those things. So my little ones can't go through their checklist by themselves, but I'm not trying to get out the door in 30 minutes with two kids and not expecting to be triggered and not expecting to be frustrated. So I have to allow ample amount of time to be able to get things done so that I'm not triggered by that. And so if I know, like the other thing that was a big trigger was bedtimes. Bedtimes was such a trigger, and we would start bedtimes at 7 o'clock, but come 8:30, no one would want to go to bed, and it would just be so frustrating. So then we decided, hey, let's start bedtimes a little earlier. Let's start at 6. That way we have time to gradually deal with everything, and we're not feeling so rushed and tired by the end of it that we're like, oh, you know what I mean? So allow time, train, figure out what your triggers are, and figure out how to combat it. Before I continue with the rest of the other tips, let me just say that I don't believe that children should be disrespectful. I don't believe that children should not listen and be disobedient. No, this is how you stop yelling and get your children to listen without you yelling. And so for me, I believe that as parents, our yes should be yes and our no should be no, and that we should foster assertiveness, not aggression, and not passiveness. So we're not being aggressive towards our kids that we're scaring them, but we're not being so passive or we're letting them get away with everything for fear of, I don't know, parenting them, or for fear of not being positive, or whatever the situation is. I believe in assertiveness and with love and kindness. So do your morning routine, please, and then we'll have breakfast. Everything said with a smile. Oh, well, since mommy said with a smile, I'm gonna try to get it. Mommy said, do your morning routine, please. And so I make sure I get down eye level with them and talk to them directly and make sure that they acknowledge and understand me by responding yes ma'am or no ma'am or whatever the situation is. So it's not a passive parenting to not yell at your kids and to not be aggressive with them. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. So with that being said, when you are getting frustrated, when you are feeling yourself start to elevate in anger, one thing that I tend to do is I tend to smile. And that smiling, I don't know if I'm releasing endorphins because I'm not a scientist, but it helps. So if I'm starting to get really upset, I'll be like, please. It's just hard to scream with a smile, you know? So it's so oh my gosh. And so when I talk with a smile, when I say, put that down right now and go get your checklist. You can tell that them getting their checklist is a big deal in our house. Put it down, go get your checklist, and it's time to start. So I try to say things with a smile. I just don't want them to have their whole childhood be their mom yelling at them and directing them and telling them. So I want them to, when they think about me, to remember me smiling at them, to remember me loving on them. And so I smile. The other recommendation, I actually got this from Michelle Duggar, is I whisper. It's crazy because that's one of the things that people know her for. But she talks about how when she feels like yelling or raising her voice, instead of going high, she goes low. And so I have adapted that into my own parenting style and parenting tools is instead of yelling, instead of going up, I go high. So the lower I go, the more serious you know that it is getting. And so what happens is it prevents me from yelling, and it also causes them to be like, what is she saying? Why is she whispering? And so it also forces them to listen better. So I tend to go whisper and slow. So you want to whisper, you want to go low so that they're forced to stop what they're doing so that they can hear you. And as well as, you train them to listen for your whisper rather than listen for your screams. The other thing is you want to not train in the moment, but train after the fact. They're not listening, okay? Being a kid myself and having kids, I can tell you that when you start talking to me in the moment, I am not listening. You're just in through one ear, out the other. The only thing I'm thinking is, oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed. I'm not listening, this, that, and the other. Like, I'm not listening to anything that you're saying. Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay, yeah. I didn't get any of it. So this is me as a child. So let alone now being the parent that's doing all the, it's not gonna work. So don't train in the moment, train after the fact. They've got great memories. They'll remember what happened, and you can talk to them. And for us, it usually happens during special time or while I'm playing with them and we're acting out what happened and how they could have done it differently or how mommy could have reacted differently, because sometimes mommy doesn't react the best. And how, like, for example, when I'm on the phone was a big thing. Like, when I'm on the phone, that's when kids get loud. It's time to start a party. Everybody needs me while I'm on the phone. And so what we did was, so they'll come and they'll talk to me and I'll get flustered and I'll be like, so I didn't tell them in the moment, because now everybody's upset. Everybody's not listening because mommy's on the phone. She's not listening to me. And so after the fact, outside of the situation, I said, okay, when mommy's on the phone, let's pretend mommy's on the phone. Hey girl, hey, how you doing? And okay, what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do? Mommy, no, what should we do? Tap, tap, tap. And then mommy will look down and she said, 1 second, and she'll be right with you, okay? So now you pretend to be mommy. Hey girl, hey. Tap, tap, tap. Mommy, can I get with you? You turn it into, I don't know what. Oh my gosh, just did a whole skit. But like, you turn it into a teaching moment. You turn it into a special thing. You turn it into, and I promise you, because now my kids, instead of yelling and screaming while I'm on the phone or when I'm talking to somebody else, they come and they tap me on my shoulder, they tap me on my elbows, or they tap me on my knee to let me know that they need me. And they wait until I say yes, or until I'm ready and I get their attention, because mommy's not going to be, for the most part, I tend, when they need me, to stop what I'm doing, look at them in the eye and listen to what they have to say and answer or respond in any way that I need to. But sometimes I can't. Sometimes I gotta be able to talk on the phone. Like, sometimes I just need to talk on the phone. I'm on the phone with the doctor. I'm on the phone with a friend, or whatever the situation is. And so kids have to learn patience, and they have to learn to wait their turn, and it's okay. So tap me on the elbow, tap me on the shoulder, and wait. So that's just an example of just not training in the moment, but training after the fact. The other thing is, you want to know what is considered normal. So I've said this before, but I believe that as a mom, your job is to be a mom. So you should be well versed in all momism, and you should study on child development and study on how to time management, just a bunch of other things, but definitely on child development when it comes to not yelling and when it comes to listening to your kids. Read up on child development. Know at what stage your child is and what is normal for them. Everything's on Google. There's libraries. You can find this information on what is developmentally normal for your child at that particular age, to know that if what they're doing is within norm, it kind of helps you to not be so upset when your toddler is throwing a tantrum, because tantrums are normal at this stage. And so when you know something is normal, it kind of helps you to not feel like it's your fault or it's on you that this situation is happening. So definitely know what's normal, what's developmentally appropriate for your child at the age that they're at. Have grace with yourself. Be quick to apologize. Understand that you're gonna yell sometimes. You know, it's gonna happen, but have grace. Be quick to apologize. Be quick to do better. You're teaching your children that when they make mistakes, it's okay to say sorry and to ask for an apology and to do better next time. You know, throughout this whole molding and training process of learning how to be more of a positive, better parent for my children, I have had many ups and many downs, and I continue to have many ups and many downs. And so beating myself up about it, not giving myself any space to have grace to, it doesn't help. It's not God, because God forgives and He's full of grace. Be mindful of when those negative thoughts come into your mind, or you're not a good mom, or you yelled again, this, that, and the other. Who's sending those thoughts in your mind? Have grace with yourself, you know, and be quick to apologize and be quick to forgive yourself as well. So question of the day, which of these tips could you work on today to do better? Let me know. I'll see you next time. Bye. Samaya, I need you to stop yelling. Don't yell at your kids. Unless they're in the other room and they can't hear you, then you can, you know, yell. It's not really yelling. It's just like talking loudly so that they can hear you in the other room. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.